What's going on, guys? Storm6678 back with another video. So today we're going to be doing a little color correction tutorial. Excuse me, drinking my water. You gotta stay hydrated. Speaking of staying hydrated, you know what else you need to do? You need to stay subscribed, right? Turn those notifications on, because I'm posting hella tutorials and I know you guys don't want to miss out on that. I know you guys want to get better at editing, so be sure to turn on those notifications, like the video, comment, and most of all, be subscribed for more. Now, listen, I'm going to import just a cinematic from somewhere. I want a cinematic that I like. Okay, so we'll use this portion of it. Alright, excuse me for just setting this up. Alright, so we got our cinematic in, and this is what it looks like so far. Right, so now the fun part. So I'm gonna go over like kind of what I do for color correction when I'm not using magic bullet looks. This tutorial we're gonna go over essentially no plugins being used and all that stuff, just vanilla Sony Vegas. So if you go to the video effects, there is a effect called color corrector secondary, and on almost all my videos I put this boost mids preset that I made on, and here's all the settings for it. You can copy these settings down. That's kind of how I'm gonna teach you guys this. But yeah, boost mids, this is what it looks like. This is how it is. It's really just the gamma being changed a little bit. But yeah, when you're editing a cinematic or you're making a color correction, just like especially for a game like Fortnite, you don't really need to go too crazy, especially if you're just doing, because the game is colorful. The reason you don't need to go too crazy is the game is colorful. If you can make those colors pop, that's the most effective. Now when you get into more advanced stuff like popping the blues and the yellows and the reds and all that stuff, that's a little bit different. But basically, like, for very simplistic and straightforward color correcting, this is what you're gonna do. So I have boost mids. It's basically just turning the gamma up a little bit right here. You can copy these settings down. I don't think it really matters that much, but if you look over here, this is what it looks like with it, and that's what it looks like without it. So it gives it a nice little boost in coloration. Now, the next thing you want to mess with is color curves. So I'm just going to take this and drag it on. And with color curves, you have your RGB, your red, green, and blue. So for the RGB channel, you can just like play around with it, because it'll boost the contrast and stuff, but I'm gonna make it a little bit brighter and then make the contrast a little bit less. So now it looks like that. If I uncheck it, you guys can see how it's a little bit more contrast. Now for this, since it's a warmer feel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the greens down a little bit, especially for the highlights. Up here is the highlights, and down here is the, I forget what channel that is, but I think it's the mids. But I'm just going to do a curve like that, and it looks a little bit purple right now, but that's just because the blue is still in play. So if you do that, and then turn this down a little bit, see how it's a little bit more warm, turn it off, turn it back on, it's a little bit warmer. So yeah, you can mess around with that, make it a little bit more blue right there. That looks pretty good as well, but I'm going for a warm vibe, so I'm just going to turn it down just a little bit. And then obviously the red channel, I can turn it up to make it pop or whatever. But honestly, with color curves, it's really just playing around until you find something you like. But don't make it too drastic. This is a very subtle color correction. I personally think it looks really good so far. Now, the next thing that you can use, where is it? I skipped over it actually. Brightness and contrast. So if you toss the default on there, it's going to have the brightness, which is the brightness of the clip. Don't have a seizure while I do that. You can turn the contrast up or down. I'm going to turn it up a little bit, and it just adds a little bit more intense depth to the shadows when you turn the contrast up. But you can turn it up or down based on what you're editing. Um, Let me see. What else do I use? I literally just like go off the wind. Like I don't really like have any specific things that I use. I always use the boost mids, but I'm kind of just going by the, oh, I think the term is by the seat of my pants. Um, the last thing that you can really use is the gradient map. Um, if you toss that on there, you can click the colors that you want. So for example, this is the default, but I'm gonna toss on one of my presets. Where is it? We'll do storm gradient too. So as you can tell, it's super like yellow, and I usually use this for transitions, but if you move this around, it changes the effect, like the range affected. Um, and then the amount will obviously change like how much it's affected. So I kind of want this to be a little bit darker. Um, Maybe keep that yellow and then make this more red, or we'll do vice versa. But yeah, like I said, it's literally just like there's no wrong or right way to do a color correction. It's just like what you want to do, you know what I mean? Like just play around with it. So if I turn this off, this is what it looks like without, this is what it looks like with. And now it's like a really warm orange and it matches the vibe. Almost like an indie edit, you know what I mean? Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, yo, why wouldn't we just use Magic Bullet Looks? Because Magic Bullet Looks literally has all of these packaged into one um, suite. It's called a suite. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's called Magic Bullet Suite because it has all these effects kind of packaged in. Now, if you don't have Magic Bullet Looks, which is perfectly fine, if you just use these different elements, then you can create your own color correction. You can even use other stuff like LUT filters. Like if I put this LUT filter on, it changes it drastically. Okay, you can't even tell. Oh, that's because I deleted my LUT filters. Whoops. Anyways, like, but yeah, like, I don't know how to explain it. Just trying to show you guys kind of the process of making your own color correction and stuff. But yeah, you can just go through the effects and then slap stuff on, and whatever you think looks good, like honestly do. Now the one thing is, I don't recommend using color corrector. I recommend using color corrector secondary just because it has more options. But other than that, yeah, this is actually a pretty dope color correction I just whipped up. But yeah, if you see, I check things off, like each element does something to add to the color correction. Now, when I go to the effect, if I want to save this, obviously I want to save it as like a preset. You're going to click this plus button, right? And then you're going to click save as, and I'm going to say storm CC1, warm. I'll do warm, and then in parentheses orange. Okay, and then now I should have storm CC warm orange, and then I can add it to a clip whenever I want that specific color correction. So yeah, that's really it. If you have any questions, make sure you comment below. All my socials are in the description, so you can DM me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I respond to every DM, so just hit me up there. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Any support's appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.